Hello and welcome. Today, we will dive into the fascinating world of control path design. In this series on digital logic and design, we'll explore the essential concepts of control signal generation and sequencing, which are fundamental to how computers execute instructions. So, what exactly is a control path? Think of it as the brain of the processor. It comprises of two key elements. The first element is the control unit, which generates control signals. These signals act like commands, coordinating all the various operations within the processor, telling each component what to do and when to do it. The second element is sequencing, which is all about managing the timing and the order in which instructions are executed. It ensures that each step happens at the right moment, maintaining the smooth flow of operations. The control path consists of several key components that work together seamlessly. First, we have the instruction decoder, which interprets the instructions fetched from memory. Second, we have the program counter, which keeps track of the address of the next instruction to be executed. Then, there's the control signal generator, the heart of the control unit, which produces the signals necessary to manage the processor's operations. Finally, there is the timing control unit, which provides the necessary timing signals to synchronize all these operations. Control signals can be generated using two primary methods: hardwired control and microprogrammed control. In hardwired control, fixed logic circuits are used to generate control signals. These circuits rely on the instruction's opcode and precise timing to produce the necessary signals. On the other hand, microprogrammed control involves storing control signals in a special control memory as microinstructions. It offers more flexibility but can be slower compared to hardwired control. Let's take a look at a simple example of hardwired control. Imagine that we have two instructions, add and load. If the opcode is add, the control logic sets the ALU operation to add, enables register write, and disables memory read. Alternatively, if the opcode is load, the ALU operation is set to pass, register write is enabled, and memory read is enabled. The control signals are generated using combinational logic based on the instruction opcode. Control sequencing involves several methods to manage the order of instruction execution. These include linear sequencing, where instructions are executed sequentially using the program counter. Then there is conditional branching, where control flow changes based on condition flags and branch instructions. Subroutine calls, which involve jumping to a subroutine and managing return addresses. And finally, interrupt handling, an asynchronous control transfer mechanism used for exception processing. Timing control is crucial for coordinating operations within the processor. Each instruction cycle is divided into discrete time steps, synchronized by the system clock. For example, in time step T1, the program counter's value is loaded into the memory address register, and the program counter is increment. In T2, the memory contents at the memory address register are loaded into the memory buffer register. T3 involves moving the contents of the memory buffer register to the instruction register and decoding the instruction. Time steps T4 and T5 are executing the operation and writing back the results. In summary, control path design is essential for generating control signals and coordinating instruction execution timing. It relies on key functions to manage the processor's operations, and the implementation can be achieved through hardwired or microprogrammed approaches, depending on the desired performance characteristics. Thank you for joining me on this journey through control path design. I hope you found it informative and insightful. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit CodeLucky.com for more such useful content.